Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another anime figure unboxing and review video. Now today we're going to be taking a look at none other than the Figma Ochaco Uraraka, or Uravity. I'm really excited to be taking a look at another Figma My Hero Academia release. I've really enjoyed the other two, so I'm hoping this one is equally as good, if not a little bit better. And as always, we will be doing the comparison to the McFarlane release throughout the course of the video. Now, I personally think this could potentially be the best version of Ochaco in this smaller scale. The McFarlane one is slightly bigger, so it's going to have to be up to you whether or not you're looking for the bigger scale releases or this smaller scale format. But nevertheless, if you are looking to pick it up, I actually picked up mine from a local store here in Australia called Critical Hit. It's up in Melbourne, so if you are looking to pick it up, they do potentially have a few more. Check out their website. It's called Critical Hit. I'll put it down in the description below. Or, of course, eBay is your friend for older pieces such as this. What we are going to do now, though, is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. And here, of course, we have the box art for Ochaco. I really do like this deeper pink that nicely contrasts to the suit that she's wearing. It's a much lighter pink on the inside there. You can also see this black strip along the bottom, a product shot on the side, and of course a bunch more on the back there. Now, so far, my favorite in the line has been Midoriya. Kachan was good, but I do think Midoriya wins out. Let's see if this figure can take the cake as being the best in the line. A lot of people really do like it, so fingers crossed she's even more awesome than the other two guys. Now let's take a look. First in-hand impressions are, again, pretty darn positive. I love the feel of the Figma plastic. It's got this sort of satin matte feel to it, and it really does come across as a high-end release. Don't worry, we'll remove all of this stuff when we take a look at the figure itself. Now, you can see she does come with a bunch of accessories up top, and even more in this plastic section down below. So what we are going to do now is get all of the accessories laid out in the light box, and take a closer look at everything she comes with. And here we have all of the bits and pieces that come with Ochaco. Now let's start off by taking a look at the display base first. If you've seen any of my other My Hero videos, you'll know that I really like these. They're a nice, small, compact size, but still pack in a bunch of functionality. Multiple moving joints, and of course, this optional piece here that you can stick on the end that has a bit of a kick up, so you can have a little bit more of a dynamic look when you do have the figure on the display base. You also get this effect piece. It's of course two rocks stuck together with a clear section made up of multiple different pieces. You can then take it and clip it onto the display base, and it kind of looks like she's using her quirk. I really like that. It's a simple yet very effective little effect piece. It's not the best thing in the world, especially with the multiple different joints, but still that does allow for multiple different joints. You can move stuff around and get it to look the way you want. Now, she does come with this interchangeable battle helmet piece. You can of course use this with any of the interchangeable faces. There are a couple of different looks to it. You can remove the front faceplate, or you can of course install it on the front there. I'm not sure if you've ever seen her without this piece. If she's wearing the full helmet, doesn't she usually have this cover piece on there? I didn't really pay too much attention to the battle helmet itself, but nevertheless you can detach it. Then of course you can separate the front panel and take one of the included faceplates. This one is the smiling happy faceplate, and then you can install it back on the front. This does have its own neck peg, so you don't have to fight with the other head that's already installed on the body to get the neck peg off. Once you install the faceplate, because of the overly curved nature of it, as you can see, it kind of distorts the face and makes it look a little bit funky from certain angles. So I may personally decide just to go without, or even not use this helmet entirely. The other face that she does come with is the angry expression. This one is really nicely done. I love the typography of the face. It looks just like it did in the anime, and a lot better than what we saw from McFarlane. Now she does come with two different versions of the bangs. They look identical, except this one is made of a much more rubbery style plastic, whereas this one is much more rigid. Not exactly sure why we have these, but nevertheless we do. It's an interesting fact that one is sort of more rubbery. It's also a little bit more glossy, whereas this one is slightly more matte. But they are otherwise the exact same sculpt. The only other bits and pieces she does come with are of course her hands. They come neatly on this little platform here that does basically stretch out those ports to be the exact same size as the hand pegs themselves. That means you shouldn't really have to fight with pushing these onto the wrist pegs on the body. She also does come with the accessory bag. I love the Figma accessory bags. These are a great inclusion, and it means that you won't go hunting for your accessories in the box every single time you want to change up a pose. What we are going to do now though is get Uraraka herself out here and take a closer look. And here we have her standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. And I'm pretty impressed so far with how this figure has turned out. That's Uraraka standing in my lightbox. We know that based on the previous Figma releases we've already seen on the channel, they err on the side of a lighter sculpt, a little bit of a softer paint application, which I think personally really suits the anime aesthetic. It looks like this character has literally been ripped right out of the screen and translated into plastic format, and for that I'm really appreciative. I think Figma nailed it with the design of this figure. Is it 110% flawless? No, absolutely not. There are a couple of things which I think could be changed, but overall, so far, I'm really impressed. What we are going to do now, though, is take her off the rotating turntable, punch in, and take a closer look at the details. And here we have her up close and personal, and I have to say, I am really impressed with the way she looks in hand. The number one thing that's caught my attention is the fact that the black sections are this super high gloss, whereas the pink sections are this nice matte sort of finish. It does work quite nicely in figure format, and it perfectly captures the look of the suit. Now let's do a quick comparison to the McFarlane release. Now I didn't hate this release, but now seeing it alongside the Figma, you'll have to let me know down in the comments below which one you prefer, because I'm definitely leaning towards the Figma one. The McFarlane one is kind of giving me creepy Coraline vibes. Now in order to switch out the head sculpt, luckily the battle mask version already comes with the neck post attached, so you simply just slide it on there. When you do have the face mask on though, it kind of distorts the look, so we may as well remove that for now. And as you can see, it sits on there just like we saw from the regular head sculpt, except now she's wearing her battle mask. As for the outfit, it's relatively simple. I love the sculpt, it works really nicely, and as I said, the glossy black does add a nice difference in finish and texture throughout the entire suit. Now in terms of the wrist sections, they are interesting in the way they're done. These pieces can actually move. On the McFarlane version, they were separate as well. As you can see, light is definitely passing through, but they couldn't be manipulated. Here they can. Not exactly sure why that would be the case, but yeah, you can definitely move them. Coming down though to the big honkin' moon boots, these look fantastic. There isn't any articulation as far as I can tell in the boot itself. It would have been nice if this piece could sort of come out and then pivot slightly, just to give her a little bit of a wider stance. I know why they didn't do it. They wanted to preserve the look of the boot itself, and I appreciate that. That works perfectly fine for me, and it captures the look of the character. Overall though, it's a simple outfit, but one that's been translated very well to figure format. Now for a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have Ochaco next to the McFarlane version and the McFarlane All Might. This is a little bit weird. You can see how much taller the McFarlane version is, but also how teeny tiny the Figma version is. I don't know if I necessarily love how small she is. She could potentially be slightly too small, but nevertheless she's not meant to scale with this line, so it makes perfect sense with the rest of the Figma releases, which you'll see in just a second. but if you were trying to fudge her in to your American line, being of course the McFarlane releases, I don't really know if that would work. I personally will still be using this All Might until I eventually get around to unboxing my amazing Yamaguchi version, but this is going to be my All Might on the shelf. And of course, for a Figma comparison, here we have the other two that have been reviewed on the channel, being of course Deku and Kachan, and I think Uraraka kind of does work. She's a little bit smaller, but not overly so I think for me personally, this is about right. Could she have been a hair taller? Yeah, I think that would have worked just as well, but being slightly smaller doesn't really hinder anything. Granted, I'm probably going to have her posed in the air anyway, so it's not a huge deal for me, but I'm curious, does this scale look right to you? Let me know down below. Just going over articulation. Now bear in mind, this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful. When you get yours in hand, I'm sure you can push the joints slightly further than I'm willing to go. Also, some of the joints are very well hidden, so if I miss one, let me know down in the comments below. Starting off with the head sculpt itself, you already saw the inner workings. It's on this post/ball joint style thing, so you get a pretty darn decent range of motion, which is good for a flying type character. The arms themselves go up to about there, they'll go pretty much the full way around. There's a butterfly joint and a swivel at the shoulder as well. You do have a double bend at the elbow and a regular Figma style joint for the wrist. The torso has multiple different joints, one at the top, then one at the bottom, and as you can see, when you use them in tandem, you get a pretty good range of motion. The legs themselves go forward to about there, they go out to about there. There is a swivel incorporated up there as well, which is pretty darn good. You do have a bend, which is, I do believe, a single at the knee, and you do have a swivel incorporated also. Unfortunately, as far as I can tell, there is no articulation whatsoever in the boot. Just wrapping up on the Figma Ochaco Uraraka figure. Now I have to say I am pretty impressed with this release. I love a couple of key things, namely the sculpt and the paint applications. It's pretty much perfect. It's a straight copy of the anime model right here into figure format. Granted, there are a couple of engineering decisions that I think they could have done a little bit better with, namely the ankles. I think they could have had the foot subtly pop out, then give you a little bit of ankle rocker. Also, there is very limited swivel at the top of the boot there due to the way the knee joint is sculpted in to the back, so she kind of always has the legs, or the knees I should say, pointing inwards, which gives her a little bit of a goofy stance. When she's in the air though, it's not a huge issue, and I personally will be posing mine in the air because that's the nature of her quirk. I love the paint, I love the sculpt, but some of the engineering decisions are a little bit questionable. It's still my favorite version of this character in plastic format. It definitely edges out the McFarlane one with that slightly creepy face. Let me know which of the two you prefer though down in the comments below. Now I picked up mine from a local store called Critical Hit. I don't know if they have any more in stock, but definitely check out their website if you're looking to pick one up for yourself, or otherwise check out eBay or any of your local comic book stores. Also, if you are heading down to the description, why not check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the awesome Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.